Good evening, Director Alvarado.
Good evening, Mr. President. How are you?
All right, doing good. I think we're just missing Director Weiner. Don't see him yet. Give him another minute or so. Just hitting 6:30 on my watch there.
Sorry
Hopefully
about
everyone. It's all right. Hopefully everyone is enjoying this hot summer day in October.
It's kind of a confusing thing, actually.
Yeah.
I was just getting used to fall.
I was beginning to take my sweaters out. I gotta take my shorts back out.
I'm telling you.
All right, well, maybe while Director Weiner joins us, we will at least get the top of the agenda started so that we can all get our night going. All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is 6:30 on Wednesday, October 19th. Madam Clerk, if you can please take the roll.
Sure. Director Alvarado.
Here.
Director King Meredith.
Here.
Director Weiner. Vice President Sudduth.
Yes, ma'am, I am here.
President Cepeda.
Here.
So we have a quorum, Mr. President.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, now it's the time for public comment on the agenda or on items not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, did we receive any public comments or requests to speak for tonight's meeting?
We have not received any public comments written, nor do we have anyone on our attendee list to speak. So, nope.
Perfect. Thank you. And as a reminder, Vice President Sudduth will be serving as our parliamentarian for tonight's meeting. Vice President Sudduth, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
For anything that may come about? Thank you so much. And also, in absence of our general manager and our deputy general manager, we will have Justin Lovell serve as our acting general manager. So Justin, thank you so much. Now I'd like to turn it over to our acting general manager, Justin Lovell, to lead us through the rest of the agenda at this time.
Thank you, President Cepeda. The first item for approval is the regular board meeting minutes of August 3rd, 2022 and September 21st, 2022. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments on this item, or are there any members of the public on the call that wish to make a public comment on this item?
We have not received any public comment written, nor do we have any attendees on our meeting tonight.
Okay, if there are no public comments, then we recommend that the board approve this item and would request a motion.
That being said, I move the item.
I think the item's been moved. Do we have a second?
And I will second it, President Cepeda.
All right. Thank you, Director King Meredith. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Gibbs, if you can please take the roll.
Sure. Director Alvarado.
Yes.
Director King Meredith.
Yes.
Director Weiner. Vice President Sudduth.
Yes, ma'am.
President Cepeda.
Yes.
And the motion passes by a vote of 4.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay, the consent calendar is the next item, and that consists of items 2 and 3 on the agenda. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments on these items? Or are there any members of the public on the call that wish to make the public comments on the consent calendar items?
We have not received any written public comments, nor do we have any attendees at the meeting, so there's no public comment.
If there are no public comments, then we recommend that the board approve these items and would request a motion.
I move the item.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
And I second it.
Perfect. Madam Clerk, if you can please take the roll.
Yes. Director Alvarado.
Yes.
Director King Meredith.
Yes.
Director Weiner. Vice President Sudduth.
Yes, ma'am.
President Cepeda.
Yes.
The motion passes by a vote of 4.
Next on the agenda is other business. In your board packets, we have provided a check register for September 2022. Are there any questions from the members of the board on the check register?
I have no questions.
We asked for public comment, Justin.
I do not
No.
believe we need to at this point.
Yeah, I don't think we do for other business
Right.
because these are just reports.
Right. So if there are no questions, then we just have one other report from General Counsel Witt at this time.
Good evening, directors. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, great. So I just wanted to give you an update on some late breaking news with regard to the Brown Act. So as you all know, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the legislature provided local agencies with the flexibility to conduct virtual board meetings under AB 361, where agencies can use abbreviated teleconference procedures when there's a declared state of emergency, and either the state or local officials have imposed or recommended measures to promote social distancing, or whether as a result of the emergency, meeting in person would present an imminent risk to the health and safety of attendees. Earlier this week, Governor Newsom announced that the COVID state of emergency will end on February 28th, 2023. This governor declared state of emergency is a necessary predicate for remote meetings under AB 361. So once the state of emergency is ended, then the board will need to begin meeting in person again. So assuming that in fact the state of emergency is ended at the end of February, and nothing else changes, then West County's board and committee meetings will need to start being held in person. And your staff is meeting and preparing for that eventuality now. I think we all were aware that this was likely coming. And now we have a little bit more information. And I'm happy to respond to any questions if there are any.
Directors, any questions?
None for me.
I have none. I have none.
I do. So we are preparing the boardroom for this eventuality. And I think that's probably a question for Justin.
Yes, so we have our current setup as existed pre-COVID. So if you recall how the video was at that time, it doesn't have the current technical capability to hybrid stream a meeting. And so that's something that we're looking into to upgrade the equipment in time for the next board meeting, to look at how we can have better AV technology and connectivity in there from what are current existing.
Okay.
meetings.
And I'm thinking more structural than the AV because as it's currently situated. Will we be making any changes to how it's currently situated? Because we're sitting awfully close.
Mhm.
The way that it's currently structured.
Sure. Yeah, I think if that's what we could look into, how we could make some temporary accommodations. Obviously, the dais itself would require some construction to, it's permanently attached and built into the room. But if we can make some accommodations, I think on a temporary measure, and while we're looking at, I think if that's the interest of the board, I think that's something we can definitely do.
Yeah. I think that that's a conversation that we should have, even if it's just the way that I've seen in other boardrooms with the partition base or something like that. And even if it's eliminating a lot of talking, some boards are moving to electronic voting. So then it's less speaking, right? And you just vote electronically and it's up on the screen and stuff, things like that. So we have time.
Yes.
Thank you, President Zepeda.
Thank you, Vice President. So, Justin, I want to remember that there was an agenda item maybe about a year and 2 years ago with COVID, maybe it was more, where we talked about redoing the boardroom anyways, the structure of it. This was prior to COVID. I think we had an agenda item and even a budget, I believe, to I think even to paint the boardroom and just to restructure it a little bit so that we can see each other better. Because one of the issues we were having before COVID was not being able to see each other, right? If the board president or somebody was sitting in the middle and they weren't looking to one side, they missed everybody on that side of the room raising their hand, and we would have to say, hey, look on the other side, the director over there has a question, and you had to keep going back and forth. So I think there was thoughts back then, and I know that we're only a couple of months away from February, I believe, Ms. Witt, you said is when we have to go back.
March. It'll likely be March. It's the end of
March?
February when the state of emergency is scheduled to end.
So it'll be March, first meeting in March.
So in March, so we have a couple of months, but if we're able to bring that thought back of how do we restructure the dais so that all the directors can see each other and we're not missing each other when somebody's talking on one side and not the other. I remember that being an issue when we were in person. Here I can see everybody unless we're in presentation mode, and I can't see if somebody physically raises their hand versus the virtual hand. So I think we had some money already set aside for that. And it would be great if we're able to look at other cities like City of El Cerrito. They have a really great sort of virtual / in-person component. They require a lot more cameras. I don't know what the cost would be. I don't know if the board's appetite would be to put new cameras so that we become more accessible to everyone in general. And if we are going to be recording live, as we're doing now, that everybody can really see. Because if I remember correctly, the recordings from before, everybody's really far away. Right? Because we have this little camera at the top of the door. So I think now that we've moved, a couple years later, we should have better tech and allow our constituents to be able to see the board and be able to participate even from home. So it'd be great to be able to see that if we're able to maybe get some proposals or something for a future agenda that the board can vote on or kind of look at if the board decides that they want to do. So maybe the first step is, does the board, once we go forward, does the board wish to do a hybrid? That would be a first question.
Sorry to interrupt, President Cepeda. I just wanted to be sure that this is under a sort of general report from the General Counsel. So I think we can probably return with these items possibly in the future for more discussion. But at this time, we should probably just be careful not to proceed too far down this road. Apologies again for interrupting.
Thank you. No. Thank you, Ms. Witt. I was trying to be careful not to get too much into the weeds, but hopefully it's enough. And maybe I'll do this under my report, asking for an agenda item.
Yes.
To look into this. So perfect. Thank you so much. No other questions.
Thank you, General Counsel.
All right. Next item, please.
This is the director's comments and the meeting reports.
All right. Perfect. Directors, any comments from the director's reports?
President Cepeda, I do have, is this time to report out for announcements and, okay.
Well, anything for your director's report that has to do with the agency.
Oh, with the agency, okay. Well, none at this time. Okay.
All right.
Well,
Perfect.
she can do her meetings, the meeting she attended.
Yeah. All the meetings that you
thank
attended on behalf of the agency. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Well, the first one, what I had, I sat in the Infrastructure Operation and Environmental Committee, which was very interesting. That was one of my first committee meetings. And I felt that it was well presented. I learned very much a lot at that meeting. So I really, I really pulled a lot from that meeting and the presentation that was given. The other one I had an opportunity also was to sit in the Finance and Administration Committee. And it was also very helpful. That's my first one. And I learned very much a lot that was going on in finance and administration. So I really enjoyed both the meetings at this point and learned quite a bit what the organization is doing and how well they're taking the innovation to step out the box to look at certain things in order to help our environment. So with that, I'm done with that report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King Meredith. Directors, anybody else have anything to report?
Yeah, just wanted to thank Director King Meredith for sitting in for me at the Finance Committee meeting. I was not feeling well that day. So thank you very much for that assist. CSDA, I attended 2 trainings, Zoom trainings, one on ethics 1, 2, 3, 4, and the other on sexual harassment. And that's the extent of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Alvarado. Anyone else? All right.
Yes.
Then,
Yes.
oh, yes, Vice President Studd.
Yes. So, and I'm sure you'll probably hit this one too, but several of us attended the the Council of Industry's boat tour last week. And so we were able to represent the agency. I also was able to attend a graduation ceremony for a vocational and training for this workforce development group that's Salvation Army and Alameda County Command and several vocational groups put on. And they actually graduated one of their largest classes this past week. And there were many from Contra Costa and Alameda County elected officials who attended, including from West Contra Costa Unified School District, East Bay Mod, City of Richmond, and I was there representing our agency. And 15 young men and 1 woman graduating from the trades. And then we also was able to attend the 2 CSDA trainings. Thank you, David, for mentioning them. And 2 celebrations on the 50th anniversary of the Clean Water Act. Yay. And then 2 events for women in water, energy, and because it is, thank you, Ms. Kate, National Energy Awareness Month. And the next Tuesday, I will be presenting to the Alameda County and Contra Costa County on National Disability Employment Awareness Month, because it is that month. So we respect ability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice President Studd. Anyone else? Oh, yeah, yes, Director Rena.
I am amazed that I was 10 minutes late and we're almost done. And also, I'd like to apologize. I was otherwise engaged and missed 6:30. Amazing. Anyway, sorry, folks. That's all I have to say.
That's all right. Thank you, Director Rena. Yeah, I was like, hurry in, or otherwise you're going to miss it. You're going to be right at the adjournment.
I thought you were actually telling me it's coming up right now.
Yeah, I was like, it's going on. Are you coming?
Yeah, I didn't realize you were telling me we're almost done.
We're glad you can make it. All right, so for my report, then actually it's more of an ask. Leading in from the prior report from Ms. Witt, if we can have staff bring the board a recommendation of what the future boardroom could look like, take into account COVID, the future of COVID, and also potential hybrid meetings. So if staff could make some recommendations based on that and looking at other agencies, so that way this board can then vote on any budget or decide up or down on virtual, hybrid, or in-person meetings, so whatever they may be.
Can you add in there, President Zepeda, my query about just the setup because of how close to you, please?
Yeah, thank you, Vice President. Setup, yes, and making sure that the setup, again, that the seating arrangement, that if we're close, that, City of El Cerrito has some plastic in between.
Yeah, the
Or that
partitions.
most importantly, is that we're able to see each other.
Yeah.
Right, but also that that we don't see each other so close because we're so close. So just keeping that in mind there. And then if we're able to bring back next month the great presentation from the Infrastructure Operations and Environment Committee that both Director King Meredith and I attended, we want to bring that forward so that way this board can create an action item on it. And then also taking a look at potentially our goals for the organization, and if we want to update any of them as we continue moving forward and new technologies and new areas of opportunity come about and new partnership opportunities. So that will be part of the agenda there. And I know that to add an agenda item, so that's two of them, and I should have done one at a time, and I apologize. We haven't done this in a while. But if I can get a second to my first one, which is looking at the board room.
Yeah, I second it.
Thank you. Ms. Gibbs, will you mind taking a quick poll on that?
I will, thank you. Director Alvarado,
Yes.
Director King Meredith,
Yes.
Director Weiner,
Yes.
Vice President Sudeth,
Yes, ma'am.
President Cepeda.
Yes,
Okay, that motion passes by 5.
thank you. And then again, my second agenda item is to bring the item from, which I think it's already making its way over, but it's the Infrastructure Operations and Environment Committee presentation from last time, and we can get it back in November so that we can review it and potentially being able to vote on an update or updating our goals for the agency if we wanted to bring in a new type of structure into our agency.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's on that. I don't know how much I can give on that, but do we have a second on that?
You have a second, President Cepeda. You have a second. You hear?
Thank you, Ms. King Meredith. Ms.
Yes.
Gibbs, will you mind please taking the roll? Oh,
Sure.
we have a question from Director Weiner.
I thought I thought your original suggestion had to do with the our policy going forward. Was that the presentation? You mentioned something about a new structure. That part I didn't get.
Purple pipe.
Yeah, so it's looking at potentially looking at updating our goals to bring in a purple pipe
Purple pipe.
or working
Water.
with other agencies for a purple pipe, which is something that is not currently part of our goals, but exploring the possibility of partnering, not necessarily us doing it, but just partnering to get the purple pipe into our community.
And I can see that in the IOE video. I
Yeah.
can see the presentation.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. All right, Ms. Gibbs, will you mind taking the roll, please?
Sure. Director Alvarado,
Yes.
Director King Meredith,
Yes.
Director Weiner,
Yes.
Vice President Sudeth,
Yes, ma'am.
President Cepeda.
Yes.
Okay. And that motion passes by a vote of 5. Thank you.
I will discuss this with the general manager, just to make sure that these get on future agenda items.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you. Yeah, we can get them by November, please. I know we don't have a lot of time, but it's the holidays coming along too. And then just another quick update too. I've been working with different agencies, our surrounding agencies, to try to get the word out about all the great work that we've been doing as an agency, right? The great work that our staff are doing, that the board has been doing. And in that, with that sentiment, trying to present to our partner agencies. So we'll be presenting to the city of Richmond and then the city of San Pablo, because they're the two biggest agencies that we work with. And then looking to potentially going into Pinole as well. And then just letting them know, going into the city council meetings and presenting, letting them know, because we are a partner. We do service similar constituency. So that way they know what we do for them as a whole, or in part, as a whole for the city of San Pablo, or in part for the city of Pinot, the city of Richmond, trying to really get our hidden infrastructure unhidden so that there's more possibilities out there, either in funding or just more partnerships. And with these conversations, right, really kudos to all of our staff, all the great work that everyone's been doing with the infrastructure, with just, from communications, Vince Gibbs, to just actually doing, the building. It's a lot of great work, and we want to make sure that we unhide this hidden infrastructure. And again, having these conversations with other elected officials so that we can do more for our community all together. So that is it for my report. And if there's no other reports from anyone.
Are we planning, a quick question, are we planning, and Ms. Kate or Justin, maybe you know the answer. I saw it online, but are we planning on having a presentation on what happened on with EPA coming to visit, or just having it online? I think it would be nice to have it at a board meeting so the rest of the board can see it, rather than just having it online. I think that it's good to have it like memorialized on the video.
Okay, I'm happy. We're working on that. Unfortunately, I was out of the country when that tour happened. So we were working with our partners with CV Strategies. So we're not done yet. We have The Lateral, which is our external newsletter that's coming out beginning of November. And we are highlighting that event for sure in that newsletter. And then we can also put it out on social media some more, if that's what you were thinking.
No, I'm thinking we should say it in the meeting so that people who don't necessarily attend the meeting but look at our videos later can see it.
Okay.
Because it's one thing to see it in the paper. It's one thing to have you guys actually give a presentation. So people who miss, even board members miss it. They don't see it necessarily on social media.
Okay.
And they don't get to hear you actually talk about it and smile about it and say what it is. Right? Because that tour was a great tour, and it was a good thing to have EPA come visit. I was fortunate enough to see them come here and see them come to AC Transit. So I wanted to just make sure, people know why they chose to come here in our project.
Okay, got it. We'll make sure.
That was it, President Zedillo.
Thank you, Vice President Senate. All right, then I think that gets us to the next item, which is adjournment.
Favorite one.
And we adjourn quickly. We would have done this meeting in less than 30 minutes.
Yes, do it quickly. Say the words,
right.
Ms. Kate.
Okay, we can adjourn this meeting at 6:58. Our next board meeting for West County Wastewater will be November 2nd.
Thank you.
Thank you. Make sure to vote.
Thank you. Okay.
Have a good day.
Good night. Good night.
All right.